Hey, YouTube Gundam here. Welcome back to Space Engineers. We are looking at my submission of the Redwood Industries Naglfar class light assault cruiser. This vessel is designed to be mostly light armor, utilizing decent shields and good speed and maneuverability to keep itself alive, along with a good amount of firepower in order to really lay the hurt on anyone trying to bring her down. 24 Vulcan guns spread around the entire vessel at strategic locations, combined with 18 Bofors, give the vessel overall decent defense from all angles, including the relatively vulnerable rear of most ships. Combine this with a variety of heavier weapons for the forward attack, namely 8 dual 300mm turreted mounts, 10 forward-firing heavy artillery cannons in a fixed position as a sort of MAC, and side batteries, including those turrets, are 12 single 300mm broadside cannons. This will dissuade many enemy ships from getting too close. The vessel is designed not heavily for offense or defense, but a universal role, jack of all trades, master of none, but intended for long-term missions, giving many crew accommodations. A fighter bay able to hold up to 4 fighter craft in the front, with a pair of tugs, combined with a main dropship bay all the way in the back between the two main engine clusters, able to hold 2 Valkyrie dropships and a pair of tugs. Gives the ship good support ability with its launching craft. However, combine this with the fact it has a welder bay on the bottom, and it possesses a mining and grinder bay on top, able to hold 4 of each craft each, and the ability to easily collect large quantities of ore and process it in the ship's refineries in main engineering just below. The ship does come with multiple jump drives intending for combat jumps, sacrificing little except for armor in order to keep itself alive. For the front does have armor, and the bottom covering the hydrogen does have some armor, but the rest being all light does make it somewhat vulnerable. That combined with the firepower is why it is a light assault cruiser. Not heavy assault. It would be solid heavy armor if it were heavy assault. The vessel in lore was set up by a subsidiary of Redwood Industries, this subsidiary being White Oak Industries. White Oak Industries was given the task of creating a cheap cruiser with long-range mission in mind and with significant thoughts on crew longevity, support roles, offense, defense, everything else. White Oak Industries prefers vessels that have a more heavy armor set, but capable of sacrificing this for speed, maneuverability, firepower. Makes the vessel a very tough challenge for hostiles. Equipped with a large variety of rooms for ship's operation, CIC, main bridge, secondary bridge, as well as a large amount of rooms for the vessel's use as a long-term ship. Something of an apartment in space, except for not so luxurious. A significant crew can call these vessels home if they so wish. However, The vessels are not intended for incredibly long use because the crew will get seasick eventually and sick and tired of being cramped inside a little bit of metal all day long for months on end. However, with a little discipline, they are more than capable of doing so. And the vessel does as much as possible to count out the discipline with its full gymnasium suite, holodeck, a few other luxury rooms here and there, and the ability to nearly go planet-side, but not quite. Something that will keep the crews busy is the fact it cannot quite go planetary on its own. It does rely upon attachable atmospheric boosters if need be. Hydrogen or atmospheric thruster engine capable, either one of these is the way to go going down. An alternative for the crew for discipline is the brig located at the bottom of the ship. Intended to house a large contingent of Marines, as well to deploy large quantities of ground forces to assault enemy positions. The vessel does not sacrifice terribly much for any particular goal. The vessel also makes it a bit easier to traverse around, having 3 primary decks: the green deck in top with main engineering, the blue deck in the middle with the hangars, and the white deck at the bottom of the ship representing general support facilities and the Marines' cryo, along with access to the gymnasium and other rec facilities. Here it is. One large gym. White deck on bottom, blue deck on top. It's very easy to maneuver around. You say you are on blue deck, or if you're one below, you say I am under blue deck. If you're on white deck, I'm on white deck, or if you're just one below, such as down here, you would say I am under white deck. Decent sized holographic room does exist along with a single decent sized empty room, though there are various small cubby holes around the vessel that are empty. The ship does take into consideration its main role as that. The vessel considers bringing on dignitaries and other guests for short-term or long-term reasons. But seeing that it is primarily a warship meant to either engage relatively light to moderate enemy units or more severe enemy units with some support, it is not intended for going against a battleship on its own, but it can keep it at a standoff range and continuously heavily engage this vessel. Just working my way up the main stairwell here, which I need to enjoy. The main stairwell being something that most who saw it greatly enjoyed, being one in front of and one behind the main crew, the main fighter hangar, excuse me. The rear one being the obvious choice. Very easy to float up if needed to make transfer much faster, but if jetpacks are not a viable option, then they can easily be disengaged. General crew accommodations does include a handful of specialized rooms. Looks like a sensor was neglected here. Or, no, it just wasn't activated. It needs to be activated from there. Most of the doors have sensors. Some were left out, so do bear that in mind. Mostly on the crew deck, though. But all the facilities needed spread around the ship to make it easier to access multiple things. And an important addition was for the captain, as the captain does have an independent quarters and ready room. Not luxurious, but given that most ships don't have it at all, it's better than nothing. The forward gravity generator is located right where the main crew does access, below green deck. Combine this with the rear of green deck being rather important. A significant amount of luxurious facilities were given on green deck for more crew comfort and easy, immediate access to main engineering. The vessel is intended to come with those 16 mini craft, 4 tugs, 4 miners, 4 grinders, and 4 welders. And in the in-between zone for our main engineering, there is a construction bay for them and access to the main hangar. Just rear of that is main engineering itself, a double-deck zone that does allow for incredible operation of the ship's systems and repair, and a secondary bridge is present here. Access to the airlock and access to the miner and grinder hangar is present, and just outside is a firing range with several high scores ready available. Do be careful, stay behind the line, make sure you keep cover while watching and shooting. Don't shoot the ship. That would be problematic. Full refinery, full assembler, multiple cargo units, many hydrogen tanks, and quite a few of the standard nuclear reactors, as the ship was meant to be cheap, easy to produce, yet very capable. A little reminder is hidden in the back. It's important information regarding 2 classics and this new vessel. Only 14.5 million shield versus the Valiant's nearly 24 million shield does make it relatively impressive, but not insane. Another little addition on the crew deck just above. This main elevator really does access to a lot. Where am I? Here. This elevator gives access to the observation deck, or this stairwell gives access to the observation deck, crew quarters, main engineering, and other things like that. Going up just a little gives access to the rear segment, which is isolated, and very, very good view when in here. Particularly if you're standing atop. Good view of the shield generator, some engines, critically beautiful view of the space around you, though you are somewhat vulnerable in this position. Oh, whoops, there were sensors in this one. Most of the doors have sensors as was stated, but some are missing sensors, so do keep that in mind. Oh, Valiant over there. Let's go over some other information on the vessel now.